nobody here to.
Got to get all those city
Nobody
workers
here
in
to
line.
notify the masses of people out there. Okay, I call this work session of the Greenville City Council to order. Let the record reflect it's 5 o'clock, and we have a 2026-2027 proposed budget. The city manager.
All right. Well, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the time. Like I said, last time I gave you guys a preview of what every department, we started, obviously, staff started this process in February. So we started with a capital improvement program, looked through all that, ranked everything by staff, things like that. And so we started that in February, and then they started presenting those and putting that into our financial system, OpenGov, by the month of April, and then they presented to you guys starting in May. And then we've had those over. So I kind of gave you a recap of all of that. So at this point, we have received our certified values. And so myself and Ben Petty have been sitting down over the last couple of weeks and putting everything together of what we can fit in, what we can't fit in, what the numbers look like, and that's kind of what I will present to you today to be able to consider. Once you guys do get this presentation, what Ben Petty and I will send to you tomorrow will be the live session. So you guys can work anything, any changes, and we'll detail it out in the email, but you can change the tax rate, you can change the target fund balance, you can change the capital, you can change the personnel, because we'll have everything that was requested, and then you guys can move anything in and out of that spreadsheet that you need to. That will give you guys a little bit over a month, because come September 8th is when we have it on the agenda to approve. And we'll go through that process in the next work session as a group as well, kind of like we've done in the past, and we'll do it September 8th as well. But you guys will have plenty of time to do that. We're also going to, Ben will send you and the whole council a way to get into the OpenGov so that you guys can see the details of everything. Okay. I know I sent you guys the link for the proposed budget on there, and you really can't get into the details because you have to have your admin permissions, and that's what Ben Petty will work on, and we'll get that to you tomorrow, so you can go through and do all of that if you need to. And then I also will send you guys probably in a shared file every single department presentation, so you guys can see that if you say, hey, I forgot, what was it, what were they requesting here, and you can go through that presentation if you want. So you'll have all that information that you need to be able to look through anything that you need. In the meantime and all that, if you have any questions, just call myself or call Ben Petty, and we'll get you answers of why this number looks like this or what this looks like that. So call us, email us. We're here to help you with that process. Obviously, this is the city council's budget, and we've framed it to go around the city council goals that you guys have given us. And so anything that needs changes, that's completely up to you guys, and this is just what we've worked for. So I do, before I go through everything, I do want to say thank you to not only Ben Petty, he's worked really hard to get this together, but also staff. We started, like I said, we started this process in February, and they've been working towards it, along with all the other projects that we have going on, and because this is the most important, one of the most important documents that we put before you guys. So publicly, I just want to thank staff and my leadership team for putting in the time. Not only it helps me when I come up here, present to you guys, and we can answer questions, and we do it together. I mean, it's not my budget, it's not their budget, it's the city's budget, and so we really just want to do it in conjunction with the city council. So I'll go ahead and start with that. Obviously, this is the budget. This is the vision that the city of Greenville up on the screen that the city council voted on, years back. I can't remember how long ago that was, but that's the vision that we're trying to adhere to for the city. Like I said, today we're presenting to you guys the proposed budget. And then on September 8th, which gives us about a month to be able to go through, we'll have the public hearing on the tax rate, the public hearing on the budget. We'll hopefully adopt the budget, we'll ratify the tax rate, and then we'll adopt the tax rate. And that's the order that we have to go in by Texas code. So here's a few budget assumptions that we made. Overall, strong financial position. Fund balances are at 16%, same as we were last year for the general fund. And sales tax revenue, we left flat, same as 25-26 budget. There was, if you look at a sales tax chart, which I think I send to you guys every month, you can see 24 was trending up, and then 25 jumped up, and then now 26 is kind of staying with that trend. So for some reason, 25 is an anomaly. At least in the chart from a looking standpoint, if you look at it. So that's really why we felt like keeping that flat, we would probably meet what we projected to budget for this year. The TAV, the property growth, was a little under 1%. That's a lot lower than we've typically had. Since I've been city manager, that's been no less than 6%. So a little bit down there. New taxable value decreased by 22%. That's not an unusual trend. I looked back to fiscal year of 21. If you think about the new values back then was 36 million. And then it trended up to 50 million, 107 million, 160 million, 134 million, 169 million, 130 million. So we might jump back to up to the new value. So this is everything that's new. So we do have a lot of things coming on new. Obviously, Cinemark will be on that new value next year because they're 100% complete now. A couple of the apartment buildings we'll probably see on there. So I'm thinking that's going to trend back up to the deal. So I'm not too worried about that number. Rate increase for water and sewer of 7.8%. So that will be in the full budget as well. That's along the lines that we've been with our water rate study, so that matches our water rate study, and we're exactly where we need to be with that water rate study and the increases to be able to meet our debt obligations with all the infrastructure you guys allowed us to sell those bonds for. And then we settled on a health insurance rate increase of 5%, and that's just for city budgets. So that's nothing to the employee, anything like that. That's what we landed on. So we feel pretty confident that our broker, Lance, can get us to that 5%. Just some O&M, which you guys will probably see it as M&O, which is maintenance operations. That's what we operate off of. Public safety, library, parks, all the things that we do there. INS is going to be your debt payment, so that's your principal and interest payments. And then both of those together make up your tax rate. Now, if you'll remember, your INS rate cannot change. We have to pay our debt, so that's nothing that fluctuates. So the two things that fluctuate, obviously, council controls the tax rate. Once you guys adjust that tax rate, then the INS stays the same, and then our O&M or M&O is what we adjust. And then 26, 27, 1 cent on the ad valorem tax rate will generate 343, 303 at 101 collection rate. That's down from 350, $22 in 25, 26. I know that number was a little bit higher with the preliminary values, but I will tell you from our preliminary values to our certified values, that dropped 7%. Typically, that's in the 3 to 4% range, so that was a little bit higher than normal any other year that we've done this as well. So from preliminary to certified, that dropped. Property tax definitions, you'll hear this a lot. No new revenue rate, that's a big, you'll hear it in the news and other cities as well, they deal with it. So basically, that's this tax rate that you would receive this tax revenue, same tax revenue as last year, which would be in our current year that we're at, using the next year's appraised values. So that's what your no new revenue rate is comprised of. If your proposed tax rate is equal to or greater than or less than your no new revenue rate, you don't have to do any publications, nothing like that. If it's equal to or greater than your no new revenue rate, you have to do publications, things like that. We go ahead and publish anyway, just in case you guys do want to go above the no new revenue rate. So everything that we've done with Ben and Carla, we've published everything, so we could go above that no new revenue rate if we needed to. And then down at the bottom, you'll see the no new revenue rate is 0.576934, which is 0.000934 cents over the proposed tax rate. So we're proposing a tax rate of 0.576000, which is right under the no new revenue rate. That equals out to about, if we were to go up to the no new revenue rate, that would, so basically we're, I guess I'll say giving up, but we're not including $33,000 in revenue. So that's that difference, that delta there. This is just the seesaw effects. If your appraised property value goes up, your no new revenue rate will go down. If your appraised values go down, your no new revenue rate will go up. If it about stays the same, then you'll stay about the same where you were. Ours is a little bit, our APV obviously didn't go up a lot, so our no new revenue rate just dropped a little bit, and I'll tell you, that'll be in the next couple slides. So here's just a trend of our ad valorem tax rate history since 2009. You'll see back in 2016 it was at 0.699, And then steadily, city council has been dropping it since then. So over the last 10 years, that's just your ad valorem tax rate, just straight up. Then this shows you, the blue is going to be your no new revenue rate, and then your green's going to be your tax rate. So you'll see, since 2023, the city council has adopted either at or below the no new revenue tax rate. So a couple of years, if the APV, like in 2022, the APV obviously went pretty high, so the no new revenue rate dropped significantly there, down to almost 50 cents. And so that just gives you an idea of kind of where there's a couple of spikes out, back in 2012, same thing happened. But if you'll see, you can kind of see the trends there. And then your voter approval tax rate. What this allows is the taxing unit to raise the same amount for operations only in the prior year plus a 3.5 additional percentage there. So like I said, it's only the operations part of the calculation. The debt service portion, so your INS can raise as high as it possibly can. There's no limit on that based on Texas law, or Texas state law. And they may petition for a voter approval tax rate if we propose over the voter approval tax rate, which I'll show you the voter approval tax rate. It's pretty high. We've never gone anywhere near that in the last couple of years. Just to give you an idea of the current tax rate, obviously all these entities are working on their current tax rate right now, so this is just last year, just kind of gives you a percentage. So 47% of your tax bill is 47%. Is Greenville ISD. City of Greenville is 27%, Hunt County is 16%, and then the hospital comprised 10% of your overall tax rate when you look at your tax bill as a citizen. And then here's our certified property taxes. So the net taxable, like I said, went up little under 1% there, from 3.657 to 3,690,000. New value added was 169 million last year, and then this year was 131 million, which was a decrease of 22%. There's a 0.568 was our tax rate last year, and 0.576 was this year, so that's a 1.4% increase in the tax rate. Your no new revenue rate last year was 0.593802. This year was 0.576934, which is a 2.84 decrease. And then there's your O&M, or your M&O, was a little over about 8.41 increase, from 0.288 to 0.290. And then your INS tax rate went from 0.269954 to 0.285532. So that was a 5% increase on the debt side of it. So we had some debt come due, and I have a slide that'll show where our total debt was. And then what you get for your money. So some of these things might be a little lower. I know I can't get lunch much for $6.77 much anymore, unless I guess you go to the dollar menu. But so on it, and this is real simple math. There's not a lot of detail in here, but on a $250,000 home, your daily property tax rate equates out to about $3.94 a day. If you average that out against either utility bill, or if you go out to lunch, or if you have a coffee in the morning, that's kind of compares that. And what do you get for that? You get police, you get fire, you get public safety education, you get emergency management operations, you get library services, you get senior programs, you get roadway infrastructure, sidewalk repairs, updated software to help, in the permitting department, ADA compliance, economic development, special events at parks and downtown, just recreation facilities. You get all that for $3.94 a day. And then how is that daily property tax used? So if you look, public safety, $1.68 of that. You've got debt at 84 cents. You got transfers and cost allocations, which go to other programs and to support other departments. Culture recreation is 27 cents, and then community development is about 14 cents of that. And then each year, we want to see how we're stacking up against our comparison in our competitive cities. So I just kind of put a list together of all the cities we've ever mentioned. And, we do different cities for different pay plans and stuff like that. So this is all those together. So obviously this is from, this is not the current year, but our current year that we're in right now is 0.568. So out of all those 16 cities, we rank as the 5th for tax rate. And then far as population, according to all these, we're down at 12. And then median household income, we sit at 10, behind, places like Garland, Louisville, Rowlett, Forney, Rockwall, Plano, Wiley, places like that. So it just kind of gives you an idea there. And then here's our fund balance spreadsheet for all of our funds. You'll notice the ones that are on the right that have the target fund balance, so those are the ones that we are required by financial policy to be able to have a targeted fund balance, which between the general fund, the water wastewater, and the airport fund, those are the ranges. We have a target of 20% of expenses, but we can range from 15% is the lowest that we could go, and then 25% is the highest that we could go of expenses on all those funds. So we stay in those ranges to stay within policy. And then the debt service fund, that is, you have to keep in 1/12 of the next year's debt that's due in that fund balance. So you have to keep 1/12 of that in there. So we're well within our calculated fund balance there. Overall, if you look at the bottom there, our beginning fund balance was $36,213,710. If we go through with this budget, our ending fund balance at the end of this fiscal year 27 would be $42,307,543. I did want to point out that vehicle equipment replacement fund there at the very bottom line. The fund balance is pretty high there, but that's where we put in our $355,000 every year for our fire truck. So we put in that, and that's also where our enterprise is taken out of. So you can see that fund. I looked back, I think from back in 21 before we started the enterprise, and that fund was close to $1 million, and we kept about $1 million in there. So that enterprise fund is working to our advantage to be able to build that up and be able to use that. And we also get new cars every 3 years, which is nice. So that fund is working there. The ones that have the parentheses, obviously, those are ending in negatives. Venue management, I did want to point out, obviously we had 6 months of no revenue last year, but still had, the same personnel and overhead expenses, so that one's there. We're hoping that turns around in the near future. And then the other funds, I will point out sanitation fund, there's something going on with billing there that Ben's working through, and so we think that fund during the course of this year, because that fund should be pretty even, that we can work through that fund as well. So if you have any questions about that, we'll be happy to get into the weeds on that one with you. This is just an overall of all of the city revenues. Sales taxes at 32%, property taxes at 27%, franchise fees at 22%. You've got sales and income, which includes your water, and then some of the other smaller things that we have there, overall revenues. And then here's your overall expenses: public safety at 56%, community development at 6%, public works at 7%, culture recreation at 13%, and then general government's at 9%, which includes my office and all the administrative offices. And then this is going to be our enterprise funds. So these are the funds that the revenues that come in are fees. So that includes water, sewer, airport, internal service, golf, sanitation, funds like that. So overall, put all those together, all the summary of retained earnings, we're in great shape, with the ending fund balance, our change in retained earnings at 32% overall. Water and sewer is really healthy, and so we've got some additional infrastructure that we would like to add to that, probably. Actually, a couple of lines that have come up in the last couple of weeks that, they're breaks, but we'd like to replace the whole line, and if we're healthy in this fund, we'd like to really add those. So Chris Harris, Ben, and I will talk through all those, but we're in good shape there. This is our governmental fund, so general fund, debt service, special revenue, capital projects overall. I did want to point out here, there's an asterisk. If you guys remember, our beginning fund balance of 10-1 is $2.2 million. If you remember our audit, that cash was low due to the fact that all of our money was still in those investment accounts. But because that was before that fiscal year, we haven't transferred all that. We wanted to make sure that we painted the right picture. So we've got about $13 million in cash that's due to the general fund. So that's how we built this budget. So all of that, Ben's getting all that transferred, but it's happening right now. So it's not going to be reflected as of 10-1 of 25, if that makes sense. And so overall, fund balance at the end of 27 for general fund will be a little over 7 million, and then all those funds together will end up at 20 million. And then this is just a picture of just the general fund. So if you wanted to see that in a little bit more detail, that's just general fund starting from 10/1 of 25 and then ending up at 9/30 of 27. And then here is our current tax-supported debt service. So if you'll see there, fiscal year of 27, we're paying $11,452,437 in debt. So that's our debt payments that are due. 28 is pretty similar. There's not much change there. And then, it starts to trend down in 29, stays 30, and then really drops in that 2030. So if we don't add any more debt to the general fund side or tax-supported side, this is how our debt payments would be. If we get healthy in that debt service fund, which we've been pretty healthy because we have 101% collections of taxes, we can pace down some of this debt too. So we'll look at that throughout the year as well to make sure we can do that. And we work with our financial advisor to make sure that we can do that and make sure we're paying down the right debt and those kind of things. Overall, from a staffing standpoint, so merit raise we included in this budget of 3%, which overall was $974,242. Broken down by general fund was $739,791, and then water wastewater was $148,053, and then other funds, which include venue management, all those supporting funds, was about $86,000. We left in sign-on retention and spot bonuses at $100,000. And then a cost, just so you guys would know, of 1% of a base pay increase, which will be on your that spreadsheet that you guys can change that to 3, 4, 5, whatever you want to change it to. For all funds was $324,747. Just general fund was $238,212, and then we did some minor pay plan adjustments, which those would be pre-merits of $38,456. So you guys have been very generous over the years for us to adjust those pay plans, and so our salaries and the people that are in those positions has been really competitive and really good. So when Uriah went through her pay scale of because we go through the pay scale of every single department, a pay study basically is what she does, of every department, and we've been in pretty good shape. So thanks to you guys investing in that over 3, 4, 5 years, we're in great shape. So no huge increases in the pay plan adjustments pre-merit. And then this was the personnel that was requested. So we had 4 officers and a sergeant from PD, 2 positions from fire, and then we had a library technician part-time to full-time, and then we also had 1 position that we added in this fiscal year 26. So that equated to $795,916. We did not add any of that personnel into this budget. We just couldn't make the numbers work from that perspective. And then here is a history of the salary adjustments over the years. Like I said, you guys have been kind enough to be able to, and I think since the COVID year, we've been no less than 5%. So I think that's really helped us from a recruiting standpoint, and taking care of the employees that have been with us, and from a recruiting and retention standpoint. So we've been really happy about that. So we could make 3% work with the numbers that we have currently right now, and so that's what we included in the 26-27 budget. And then just overall general fund revenue compared to the budget of last year, maybe not projected or what's actual, but 10.9% increase on property tax, which includes everything. Sales tax, like I said, we kept pretty flat at 1.14 increase there. Franchise fees went up about 2.6%. Licensing and permitting, 18% increase. And then anything else that didn't fit in those top categories, that's what's in your other revenues, which can include pilots and things like that. Anything that just didn't fit, any other fees that we charge, park fees and things like that didn't fit in those buckets. So overall, 8% increase on the revenue side. And then really went through all of the CIP or the capital improvement projects, and the only one that we included that was the annex roof, and the only reason we included that is because we put it off last year, and we really need to include that. So staff was really good. I asked them, kind of when we got our preliminary values, I said, okay, relook at your CIP and tell me what's a huge need. Like, what do you absolutely need, and how can we make that work? And so most of the capital stuff with the exception of the annex roof replacement, was for kind of growing for the future, and maybe looking forward and being a little bit more proactive. And so we found some other ways. I know with Brett, he had some things that we had a roller in streets that they were going to get a new roller. Maybe we could use that on the park side and things like that. So we've kind of shifted some of those things to kind of figure out some ways, if we needed to, I don't want to say get by another year, because you guys have, I think, let's see, I will tell you, CIP last year, you allowed us to spend $2.5 million just in the regular budget. So that's been really good. And the year before, we did $3 million. I think we did a bond $3 million before. So we've been able to purchase the things that we needed. So I did include the annex roof replacement and the health inspector software, because that's really the only thing Steve asked for in a lot of years. So I went ahead and put that on there. So we'll include that. And then this is just the non-general fund CIP, the GMA dressing rooms upstairs. Those the back end side of things for $35,000, and then the digital sign at PD. We included that. So those were two small items that Micah had requested. And then, like I said, we're very healthy on the water wastewater side, so we included, this was everything that they had requested from each department. So all the reservoir items were from Robert's department. Main Street, the dump truck, and the mini excavator were for the utilities department. And then out at the wastewater treatment plant, Sue requested the effluent pump and the skid steer mower attachment. So we included all those items on the water and sewer side. And then we left the pay-as-you-go capital. We did fire truck pay-as-you-go, $355,000, so that'll go into the equipment side in the equipment fund. We did lower the valley gutter and sidewalk replacement by 50, so that went from 250 to 200. The drainage improvement went from 300 to 250, just to make the numbers work. We left in the HVAC replacement at 50,000, and then the IT annual computer replacement at 75,000, for a total of 930,000. And then this will just show you guys approved the goals, and we included, and we can change this however you guys see fit, but these are the items that we included in the budget and how they fit into the goals there. So you guys can look over those, and these are some things that maybe I didn't have a slide on, but are included in the budget. Down on number 4, we've got the GMA events, the sports tournaments. We increased that from 3,000 to 40,000. Bottle Rocket Bash, the bonus program, the IT stuff, dressing rooms. And then over on the public service side, the fire truck, we've got the non-governmental funding that you guys approve. Majors Road is in there. And then the parks mowing, the contract there, we increased that, and then downtown. So kind of fit in what we have in the budget that fit to the city council goals. And then other items included, from the tourism, gives $45,000 to the Main Street, and then the $50,000 is the tourism distribution that the tourism board makes recommendations to you guys as city council. And then the sports tournaments out at the Sports Park Center, obviously those will be a lot more now. I think Brett told me the other day he had at least 7 in the works or lined up. And then the non-governmental funding of $47,000 that you guys as city council, we take applications for that, and you guys, the subcommittee gets together and decides on that, $47,000. And then this is just an overall picture of the capital improvement. General fund at $352,400, water wastewater at $2.5 million, vehicle fund at $3.2 million, venue management at $70,000, and then tourism fund at $135,000. And then this will just give you a picture of our enterprise. Obviously, we didn't add any new positions, so there's no need to add any additional enterprise vehicles, just regular vehicles, so just the replacement of those. So we're at $2.1 million now that we lease out, but if you'll look down there, the down payment's at $282, and that's with an equity offset of what we sell at $256. So it basically, it feeds itself. So that program's been working really well. And then, we'll get in a revenue estimate when we do sell equipment and things like that around $250,000. It might be a little bit lower than it's been in the past, because we've had some big items that have sold in the past. And then just equipment. On the utility side, we got 2 dump trucks there, mini excavator at $85,000, the mower attachment for the skid steer, and then we did include from the equipment fund, not the general fund, the drum roller that Streets requested just because the roller that they have when they use the asphalt machine is really small. So we wanted to get them the proper equipment, and we'll keep building up that program so that we can continue to replace those streets in-house. And then that's all I had. If y'all have any questions, comments, or anything, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Good question.
Going way back, what was the sanitation fund? Negative number.
That's where basically our fees for our garbage go into that fund, and then we turn around and we pay Blackjack. So that's all out of the sanitation fund.
So we're paying part of it. We're losing money on that deal.
Not technically, because we don't think, there's something going on with the billing that we haven't quite figured out. And that's what we're in the process of right now of figuring out. So we're pretty sure that we can unwind that this current year right now and get that figured out. But what we know right now based on what that picture, so when you look at your beginning fund balance, that's just a picture in time at that point in time. So we could be, fixing that during this current year, but we think it has something to do with the billing. So, so we're addressing that with Michelle at Juice. So,
Okay. All right, thank you.
So based on that, you're saying that the number in the fund balance could go up 2.5 million? Is that what I'm understanding, or is that, you're saying
Yeah,
it's going to even out?
In theory, it should equal out and be sustainable throughout the whole fund. It's supposed to be set up to where our revenue in is our expenditures out. So in theory, yes, it's supposed to be doing that. We're working through some of the billing side of things to get it straightened out for sure. Is it going to go up $2 million? I can't tell you at this point. I could have a clearer picture later on.
It'll be 2.25. I need to leave. Sorry, guys, but, yeah, the trash bins.
Okay, and then on the golf beginning fund balance, I noticed we're about 800,000 negative starting on that. And then we're operating, of course, at a loss, which has always been an understanding, but is there any way to fix that to where we are no longer continuing to operate at such a loss? Where that is now almost at an ending fund balance of almost $1 million negative?
I mean, we could. I mean, if you'd like to change the operations of the golf fund and how we operate and how we set up and the hours. So, I mean, if that's something, or you could support it with the general fund.
You could change the fees.
Or you could change the fees. Then you change your perspective, or, you change your clientele too if you change the fees too. So it just depends on what we want to serve to. You know what I mean? If we want to serve, to more expensive, then we can do that, but just understand that we'll have less members. If we lower our fees, then it's quantity over quality, whichever you guys want to decide. It's up to you guys as council. So this is how we've been running it in the past, and this has been okay, because we understand that. Huh?
We could run snack carts.
We could. We definitely could.
Well, just to seeing this number grow to almost a negative $1 million is concerning. We're going to continue to operate and this debt go negative even further.
Maintenance goes up
Now,
this summer.
It's not, I mean, it's not really debt. It's not, we're just operating at a loss, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? We don't owe that debt to anybody or anything.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not really I wouldn't
Yeah.
say it as a debt.
But it's
just-
taking away from other resources.
Well, your whole golf course is. Yeah, that's correct. It is. So, yeah, you're correct about that. So, but, like you said, that's the understanding that, city council wanted to provide that service to the citizens. And so, if that's not anything you guys want to provide anymore, then certainly,
I'm just wondering if there's any changes that we could make to reduce the loss.
That's what he's saying. He's not saying he wants to just.
No, I'm not saying that
Is there
either.
anything operationally that we could change? I mean,
Yeah.
is there anything we could look into to, make it operate at less of a loss?
A lost leader?
Yeah, so with the golf course, it's much like, kind of compare it to JLU Pool when it was outside, right? There's a couple of options. You can reduce all our costs is overhead. The staffing is the majority of our costs. So you minimize the number of hours they're there, that gets cost, but it also minimizes the availability for members to come in and opportunities to generate revenue. So it's tough. It's and I've heard the argument, well, what if we added 9 more holes? Well, that's fine. Yeah, you're adding 9 holes of revenue, but you're also adding another 9 holes of expenses.
Yeah.
So that doesn't change. So I think from a staffing perspective, for us, we operated that golf course for a long time with 1 full-time employee and 5 part-time for almost 35 years, 40 years. And now we have 3 full-time and 3 part-time. Part-time employees are tough to find, especially something as unique as a golf course to maintain it.
So this is, golf fund covers the total maintenance, cart, working on carts, keeping the greens and all that.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
None of that's done by any other departments.
No, sir.
Is there any way I can get a breakdown of that and how those numbers lay out for the budget of the golf course?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can you provide that to the entire council, please?
Yeah, we'll send it,
Any other questions?
Yeah, Summer, thanks for the presentation. Just an example of a spot bonus. What is a spot bonus?
So if an employee gets called out by a citizen comes up to city council and says, hey, this employee did really great, then we'll give them a spot bonus that originates in HR. So that can be anywhere from a $25 gift card to Home Depot, Lowe's, or any kind of food. So what HR does is she buys a whole bunch of gift cards at the beginning of the year, and then we hand those out for spot bonuses based on a recommendation by council could recommend it, a citizen, or department director, things like that. So any kind of bonus like that.
Thank you.
But that fund is also used to incentivize new employees sometimes.
Correct. Yes, that
Sign-on bonus, if you want to call
Yep,
it that.
that includes the sign-on bonuses, which obviously is during hiring. So we use the sign-on bonuses have been a big advantage on the police side. So they can get anywhere from a $5,000 to a $10,000 sign-on bonus. A regular employee, we do those a little bit lower, depending on the position, obviously. So we do sign-on bonuses. We also do retention bonuses. So if we have an employee that we feel that we want to keep, then we can work out a retention bonus with their department director, and so they make those recommendations to me, and then we work with HR to see what we can do. But that encompasses all of that.
One more question on the personnel requested. You have the computer user support specialist that was added in 26 with a $37,000 price tag. Was that not already included in, or I'm sorry, is that included in the budget because we've already added that position? So technically, that position was added?
So that position, so for the current budget year, I'll tell you how we went about that. So we
Okay.
had, it's a little bit so in my engineering department, we had a lot of openings, I'll just say that. Jeff's working on getting that reorganized and getting that taken care of. So we took that position for this current year, which was vacant for most of the year, and shifted that over to IT, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, but for this next budget year, it's still vacant at this point for our current budget year. So that one's still kind of shifted over there. For the next budget year, I left his engineering position, but then added it over here and left it in IT. So that was an additional $37,000, if that makes sense.
So that is in the budget?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because the way this slide reads is that no personnel were included, and so you did that. So makes it look like that was
I
not
kind of
included.
shifted it, so it's not really an addition. I shifted it, but I didn't take it out and put it back over here, if that makes sense. So I did add a position in IT, that is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
But the other positions on here, all the fire, police, and library were not added.
Correct. That is correct.
I just want to make sure I
Sorry.
understand.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was a little confusing.
Okay.
But I just wanted you to see the whole picture.
Did you by any chance, just a guesstimate of what a 4 or 5% raise would amount to
In the general fund or just overall?
overall? Or
So,
general fund, either way.
If you look at here, so general fund, so on the 3% is a little over 7 million, you add 2% to that, so you're adding 238, so you're a little over $1 million on that. So you add for the general fund, you're adding 2% to that, two of those to that 739, so it's a little over $1 million.
So the raise would go to the general fund.
Well, the raise would go to everybody, but what's going to affect the decisions you guys make with the tax rate and the fund balance hits the most on the general fund side, so that's why we point out the general fund in particular. And what you'll see on that spreadsheet, that live session, is just general fund. So the other funds, water, wastewater, it's about 148,000 for 3%, so you're just add a little bit to each one of those funds. So
The part about cost of 1% base pay increase at 324, 747.
that's over all your funds. So that's every single fund. So if you're looking at the whole, you're looking at general fund, water, wastewater, venue, tourism, every single fund, that's the total for 1%.
I was looking at all employees across the.
Correct. Yeah. We just have to put them in different pockets for different funding purposes. So that's why we kind of space them out like that, because some are tax, some are enterprise, some are fee-based, things like that. So you just kind of have to spread them out so you get a better picture of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One more thing from me,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. You said one more last time.
I know.
That's okay.
I'm just gonna open-end it. I've got another question.
Yeah, don't say one more, because you
I
can
know.
ask what you want.
I know. I know throughout the year, we've discussed creating a plan to upgrade the Monty Stratton area where all this growth is occurring, and fixing the road and getting that better. And I don't see anything in the budget for that. How do we plan to address that?
So with the Monty Stratton, from a funding standpoint, I'm looking at impact fees. That's going to be big because we're going to get some pretty substantial impact fees in that area. That's in the TERS fund as well. So if we build up that TERS fund, which I think will start happening because there's a lot of buildings going in that TERS fund, we have some obligations to developers that are developing, but we could also do it with that. So I know there's a new high school going across the street over there. I'd hate to build a brand new road and then them tear it up with the new high school and the construction of that. So I think maybe not in fiscal year, probably in fiscal year 27, we'll start looking at the planning of that and maybe the design of what that, and maybe we can take care of that. I'm hoping in the TERS fund, which we don't budget for the TERS fund because we don't know we know what comes in, but we don't know what's going to go out at that point. And we have an idea with the developers, but as they develop, we expense out, so we don't budget
Right.
for that. So I'm hoping we can either through impact fees, the combination of impact fees and TERS funding, that we can get the design of that going in the next probably fiscal year 27.
I'd like to see that happen this fiscal year. I don't think we should.
Like
continue
fiscal
to-
year 26?
Yeah.
Like right now?
Well, 26,
We're in 26 right
yeah,
now.
26, 27.
So fiscal year 27, like I'm
Yes.
saying. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So so we're going to start looking at that and see what the design costs. I mean, I don't know, Jeff, what's a road, total road?
Well, I'd be really reaching.
Yeah, we'd be reaching, we don't know. I mean, that's, you're talking, I don't know, we did that per mile not too long ago, so I don't know what that would be per mile now, but, you're probably looking in the design cost of a couple $100,000,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that there's something there to
Yeah,
start that
yeah.
process, because school's not stopping.
Oh, I know, I understand.
And
Nothing's stopping over there.
yeah.
I mean, it's all
And
over
it needs to be
there.
fixed.
Yeah, understood. So, we've got it in the plan, we just don't have it in front of you just yet, so. But we will, I think fiscal year 27, we can get there.
All right.
Any other questions?
Why can I not,
From council.
I'm sorry, sir.
no apology needed. Why can I not fill a pocket of concrete in front of my house?
This time, we're going into executive session, and we'll return at 6 o'clock. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We do have a presentation tonight. Our Police Chief, Chris, would you like to come up? It's a Greenville Police Department Community Policing Agency of the Year Award.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. It's always a pleasure to be before you today. Our Operations Service Division is responsible for putting on all the programs that serve our citizens here in Greenville, and I think they do an outstanding job. And apparently, the powers that be behind the Community Policing Association think so too. We were awarded the 2026 Community Policing Agency of the Year, and a lot of it has to do with the hard work that's put in by Officer James Hamilton, Lieutenant Kendall Reeves, and Captain Jamie Fuller. If y'all would come forward, please. So we have a plaque that was given to us, and it says Outstanding Crime Prevention Agency for a small agency. Their definition of a small agency is any agency that services a population of less than 100,000. So that's a tremendous amount of agencies, probably the majority of the ones in Texas. And we put on more programs than most of them, if not all of them. And I think that we could actually stack ourselves up against any agency in the state of Texas, regardless of size, and still come out on top. So I just wanted to make sure that these individuals behind me were recognized for the outstanding work that they do. So, Kendall, thank y'all very much for y'all's work and making us look good and providing citizens.
Thank you. Congratulations.
With that being said, we also had Captain Fuller, who has taken command of the Operations Services Division 3 years ago, and she was nominated for and was elected as Outstanding Crime Prevention Manager of the Year. So the work that she does is outstanding. She's led that division for the last 3 years. The programs they put on are top-notch, and not only most agencies, when they have a supervisor assigned to a department like this or a unit like this, the supervisors have other duties, and they primarily do those other duties. Very, very rarely is a supervisor involved in the actual community policing, and Captain Fuller does that. She dresses as an elf for our Blue Santa photos. She's out there at kids camp talking to the girls, trying to empower them to be whatever you want to be. And she does an outstanding job, and it was recognized, and so it's my honor to present her with the Outstanding Crime Prevention Manager of the Year.
Thank you.
I know it's news to you. And she had no idea this was coming. We managed to keep it
Good secret.
from her. So, congratulations, Jamie. You did an outstanding job.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Speech?
Not really. I just want y'all to know James does most of the programming, and he's good at it and passionate about it, and City of Greenville's lucky to have him, for sure. So,
Lucky to have you also.
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank
Can
you.
you turn around so we can take a picture right quick? You gotta turn around, you gotta smile.
Yeah, you're sorry.
You got sucker, sorry.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll call your attention to two placeholders in the agenda, citizens to be heard and public testimony. Citizens are invited to address the council on items that are not already scheduled for public hearing or listed on the agenda. Public testimony occurs when citizens are invited to address the council for items that are on the agenda, starting tonight with resolutions item 8A. We do have a public hearing tonight. If you'd like to address the council on any of these items, please present a citizen's comment card to the city secretary. And I'll just ask, are there citizens?
I have 4.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she lived. Mary Renee Shelton. She's gone. Okay. I'm being told she's left.
Okay.
Okay. Dennis Carpenter.
Okay.
Mayor, council members, Dennis Carpenter, 3703 Coyote Crossing, Greenville, Texas. I'd like to just take a short couple of minutes to share with you something that dovetails very nicely with the awards that were just given. The Citizens Police Academy is coming up in September. It's a 12-week-long program, and during that period, citizens can sign up and they'll go through how do we select the officers to become members. We go have a full day of target practice with live ammunition, fully automatic or individual shotguns, handguns, have an introduction with the K-9 units, introduction into narcotics issues and the discussions that go on there. And they have glasses that you'll wear and put you in a golf cart that makes a kind of a disillusioned fit and have you drive. It's supposed to simulate an impaired driver that you'll go through. Anyway, there's a whole host of things that you can learn through going through this program. I would encourage any citizen that would want to know more about the city, know more about our great police department, and to be getting involved is to do that. Last thing on a separate item, as you know, John Hayden does our library. This weekend on Saturday, they have Meet the Author, and those programs, I mean, you think about it, these people wrote the books that they have there. It's like they gave birth to it. They are so proud of it. They're so anxious to tell you about the books that they've written. If you have time to swing by Fletcher Warren on Saturday, they would love to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Betty Franklin.
Good evening, Betty Franklin, 1811 King Street. Just want to take this opportunity to say a few things. I know it's budget time, and I had met with some people, came to town over the weekend, and they wanted to see Greenville, North Greenville. They would consider moving in North Greenville, really. And we noticed a lot of new housing development. So North Greenville is growing, and we want to thank you guys for what you're doing, but it's still a food desert. We have housing development there over North Greenville. I don't know if it's a zoning problem. I don't know if you need to meet with the Board of Development. But the last store you might see is the Dollar Store on Lee Street. But when you go anywhere north, there's not a store. It could be a zoning problem. A lot of people, they're on foot. They have a hard time getting around, no transportation. And you're going to tell me there's not anything you can do about it, but maybe you can talk to the people on the Board of Development. People are moving to North Greenville. Apartments are coming up. You go on any street, the houses are coming up. So we're there. We're living in North Greenville. So think about what you can do to help us, because we're moving there. We're living there. And we're doing our best to keep that little old park going. So yeah, we're doing a lot of things. So think about us during budget time. Also, as we were traveling around, we noticed a lot of the drainage problem with the street sweep. I don't know if the street has been swept in North Greenville, downtown Greenville or not, but I saw a lot of trash around downtown Greenville, and I'm pretty sure North Greenville's not being swept. I'm not making a big deal out of it, but what about downtown Lee Street? Can we get some sweeping, cleaning up? Because I wanted to brag on Greenville. I did brag on North Greenville, but is there anything we can do to improve the street sweeping in the downtown district? Thank you.
Yeah. Ms. Franklin, if you'd like to bring those concerns about growth in the north part of Greenville for food, the Board of Development will meet at 3 o'clock Thursday at the Exchange Building on the second floor, and they have the citizens to be heard too. So I'd encourage you, I think your voice would be well received there. If you have time to go, I'd encourage you to be there and make those comments.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Dwayne May.
Dwayne May, 5 Heritage Greenville. I'm here in regards to Greenville Electric Utility Service encroaching their heavy industrial transformer, pole, and other equipment yard over into the single-family one neighborhood. The only way I found out about this, I come home one day and they were doing a boring sample about 60 feet from my backyard. Some of the other backyards, it's 50 feet to their back door. And I went up and approached the board in regards to this, and they say that they have, it's zoned, by the way, it's zoned single family one with supposedly a specific use permit. Nobody can find the permit. Nobody can find any of the documents from P&Z and for the council where any of it was approved. It was supposed to have an S put on the zoning map at the city so people would know if they could do things of this nature when they buy or they borrow money, whatever, to build a home. And right now, they're already within 120 feet. And we're not talking about a service center. We're talking about, this should be an industrial park. I liken it to, as I've already said, a wrecking yard. You might as well put that there. If they're going to encroach even further closer to a single-family, one residential, and it's not just my street, it's Mulaney and all the others that back up to it, they should have to go back through the process. It's called out in Ordinance 706, where they have to go through the criteria, to go through P&Z, have a third-party study on the impact it's going to have on those neighborhoods and homes, and then have a recommendation from P&Z and sent to the council so it can be looked at and talked about. Not just come in here and cram, as I've said before, cram this down the people's throat just because they think they can do it and they have no documentation to back that up. When that ordinance was written, that was in 1970. That land out there was not even in the city limits until 1972. So just have an open-ended, so-called specific use permit that you can do whatever you want to out there is ludicrous. And the people that invest and live in this town deserves better, and it needs to be looked at. And the only way it can do that is go through the process that's called out in Ordinance 706. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. May.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is a public hearing, item 6A, consideration and action on an ordinance acting on an annexation petition from Oak National Development LLC. And Daniel's not here tonight. Are you going to, he is here tonight? Okay. He's going to brief us on this, I guess, briefly brief us. Okay. Okay.
All right. Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? Testing 1, 2.
There, try that.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
It's probably not
Give me a, I'll keep talking.
If you want, you can keep
Yeah. Yeah, if, and we can, I can call into Carla's phone and she can hold it up to the microphone if that would be better.
Can we put in an audio system in the budget? So that we'll have to do
Anybody got a Bluetooth?
How is it now? Testing 1, 2.
Yeah, it's not picking up on the microphone, Daniel. That's the problem.
Understood.
It is. Can they? Okay.
I can hear him from here myself.
Yeah, I think we're okay, Daniel.
Okay, the item before you is a public hearing with potential action on an ordinance. This relates to Oak National's request to annex property on 1570, to the west of 1570, next to the neighborhood that they've pretty much completely built out, or in the process of building out, north of I-30, about a mile and a half. I think up on your screen you've got the phase 1 and phase 2. What we're talking about here is just over 100 acres on the southern side of that. Since the legislature changed all the annexation rules starting about 8 years ago, or 9 years ago, there now is a huge list of requirements that cities have to follow in order to annex land, even after the request of the landowner. So we met with Oak National. They put together a legal description and a map for the city to use for this effort, and we've gone through many other things that are required for annexation, including sending notice letters to all of the other affected governments, like the Caddo Mills volunteer fire department, the hospital, county, and the Cattle Mills ISD. This new, or the piece of land to be annexed is fully within the Cattle Mills ISD. So all of those letters have gone out. The city also published notice of this public hearing that will start after I am done speaking. In the newspaper, and had to follow some very specific rules that had to be in there. Not more than 20 days, and not less than 10 days. The city completed all those publications. Basically, if you approve this, the land will be annexed. The city will take over maintenance of the streets and water obligations once the initial build out is complete and those things are dedicated to the city. But if this hearing had happened 10 years ago, it would be a real quick just up or down, yes and no. Now the city had to follow a lot of other additional requirements, but altogether really this just boils down to the city is going to annex 104 acres of land for the second half of that neighborhood.
Are there any questions for Daniel? Okay. If there are no questions, I'll open the public hearing. Does anyone here like to speak in opposition to this annexation request? Anyone like to speak in favor of the annexation request? Excuse me. Okay, I'll close the public hearing. What is the pleasure of the council regarding this item 6A?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Please vote. And it passes 6-0. Let the record reflect that Councilman Freeman is out tonight, not feeling well. Okay, resolutions. Item 8A, consideration and action on a resolution approving an agreement for street lighting service with Encore Electric Delivery Company, LLC. Summer?
Thank you, Mayor. This goes along with the annexation for this Oak National Development that you guys just approved. So currently, this is in Encore's service area, and so they will, obviously, the developer will put in street lights and things like that, and then the developer will turn that over, just like Daniel said, with the streets and the water, over to the city. So because they are not in Juice's service area, we need to have an agreement with Encore to be able to provide street lights in that 105 acres.
Any questions? I'll just ask, is there any public testimony tonight? There being none, I'll ask, what is the pleasure of the council regarding this item 8A?
Move we adopt.
Second.
Please vote. And it passes 6 with 1 abstention. Item 8B, consideration action on a resolution adopting an interlocal agreement with Hunt County for upgrade of County Road 4103. Daniel?
All right, so this is an agreement between Greenville and Hunt County. Hunt County hasn't approved it yet because it needs to be approved by Greenville first. And so if Greenville approves this tonight, it'll be on an upcoming Hunt County Commissioners Court agenda. Basically, the agreement covers what's currently partial rock, but mostly dirt road, County Road 4103. For the first probably 3/4 of a mile, that road is half city, half county, and it's a east-west portion of the road, and the northern part is the counties, the southern part is the cities. It hits basically a hard left turn about 3/4 of a mile back, and then goes another mile down into the city's area. The city doesn't maintain that sort of road, and so the city does not have the equipment or the personnel or manpower know-how to bring that up to a passable road for power infrastructure that needs to be built at the end of that road. And so if you approve this agreement tonight, the company putting in the power infrastructure would pay to the city the cost of the upgrade of that road to make it passable for at least a while with heavy industrial trucks while the construction is going on. There's not any agreement in place, and this doesn't cover any sort of agreement for ongoing long-term maintenance of that road. The road is, if it's rained at any time in the past month or so, that road is completely impassable. A lot of it is in the floodplain and washes out pretty dramatically. You can't even get a four-wheel drive truck past it right now because of a major hole where a small tributary crosses under the road. And so basically what we're looking at is a relatively temporary fix that would be paid for by the power infrastructure company it would go through the city to the county. County would go and knock the limbs down that scrape the top of trucks going through there, would dig out the bar ditch on the sides of the road, and then would put base down and then rock on top of the base to make it an all-weather passable road during the infrastructure construction time. Nothing in this agreement addresses ongoing maintenance after the fact. To the extent that the city wants to continue to maintain that, which is probably very unlikely because it just goes to the floodplain and you can't build anything there, that would have to be done through a separate agreement.
Okay, any questions for Daniel regarding this item? There are none, and there's no public testimony. What is the pleasure of the council regarding this item 8B?
Make a motion to.
And it passes 6 with 1 abstention. Consent calendar. You have the city council meetings before you for the July 28th meeting. Is there a motion regarding the consent calendar?
Second.
Please vote. Okay, and that passes 6 with 1 abstention. Item 10, Keep Greenville Beautiful quarterly reporting. Have those reports. If there are no questions on that, item 11, City Council discussion of proposed agenda items. Are there any items the council would like to discuss sometime in the future? There being none, you have board and commission minutes. You have the library advisory board meeting minutes from the July 7th meeting. And we have already been in executive session. We will not be going back into executive session. So this is our entire agenda tonight, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for being here.